Alright, we're going to tie a bunny caddis. And we're going to use a turkey biot for the body. You want to tie this in from the small end, pointy end. And these are trimmed off of an actual piece here from the wing. Tie that in. You don't want to use the very end of it because you could break it off when you wrap. It's fairly delicate. Tie that in with the concave side of that biot facing up. Tie it in, wrap your thread forward. If you want to build up a little thickness to the body, you can do that with your thread. You can just go back and forth a few times and layer it up. Bring your thread just past halfway. You could tie these in other colors also. Creams and tans and olives would all be good choices for them. Put that on it. Then we're going to wrap this biot. Try to keep it wrapping so that that concave side stays up or away from the hook shank as you're wrapping. Spacing it out enough that you're not going to run out of biot before you get to where your thread is. Again, you can use your finger to kind of hold that biot in place. As you wrap it, when you get up to where your thread is, hold it in your right hand, the biot in your right hand, wrap your thread around it. Just keeping your thread right at that just past halfway point. Then you can trim the excess biot off. We're going to put a CDC wing on this caddis. This is just kind of swept over the body. If this is we're tying this on a size 14. If you're tying it on this size or larger, you might want to use 2 CDC feathers. And I'm just going to see if I can keep the stems in there. Just tie those in as one piece. That looks like it'll work all right. So I'm just laying those one over the other so that they're going the same direction. Curved the same way. And just stroke them together. You want that wing to extend out beyond the body, about even with the back of the bend would be a good length for the wing. Once you measure that up, you can just grab onto that length, and I'm measuring this from where the thread is right here. Grabbing on. So what's in my fingers now equal the length that I want that wing to be. I'm going to lay that right down, close to the shank of the hook. Bring my thread up and around, and secure that in place. Keeping your thread wraps about in that same area. Looks about what I'm wanting. You want to tie those on so that they're on top of the fly, centered on top. If you get them on there and you're looking at it and they're off to one side or the other, you can always just take your fingers and pinch it one way or the other. Just twist it. If you think it might twist back, just put a drop of head cement on there or something. That should hold it. The tighter you hold that wing clump together, the more it's going to be right up on top and not wrapping around the sides. However, that's not a disadvantage, I don't think, because they're going to represent legs and part of the wing. And they help the fly flow, so if there's some sticking out to the side, that's okay. Put those on there and they're secure. You can trim off you probably use part of those remaining fibers that are on the butts of those CDC feathers for smaller flies if you wanted to. You could just group them together. Use that as a wing. We're going to kind of even out just with our thread this thorax area, or this front portion of the hook shank. We're going to add some dubbing. We're going to use snowshoe rabbit's foot for the dubbing, the thorax of this fly. That also traps a lot of air. That type of hair does, and will help keep this fly floating high. And let's make a dubbing loop first to get this dubbing in there. We're actually going to make a dubbing loop. Let's pull off about 5 inches of thread. Place your finger right in the middle of that length of thread of your left hand. Bring your bobbin back up to the fly, to the hook shank. And just make enough turns around the thread there so that you're capturing both ends, so that loop stays there. So you take these fibers, put them in between those two threads, and just lay them loosely in between them. If you need to pull down on the dubbing tool that you have, that's okay. Just get it in there.
On these rabbit hairs, you just kind of separate them?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want, if you have any guard, just kind of real straight guard hairs or anything in there, just take them out. And if you need to twist that around, say one of the threads, to just to hold it in there, that's fine. When you get that in that loop, then all you do is you twist the dubbing twister, which is what this is called. So you're capturing those fibers in the loop. Make sure when you wrap that, you wrap everything in line. Otherwise it'll come off of the twister. We're just building up the thorax area. You can go back and forth if you need to. Don't worry about getting it all tapered in one nice even turn toward the front. You want to end up with that right at where your thread is, which should be just behind the eye, or slightly behind the eye. I'm going to hold that dubbing twister up in my right hand. Bring your thread around that, right where it's coming off the hook shank. And you get a lot of tension and stuff built up in there. That's why I've made several turns, 6 or 7 turns at least. And you can trim that off. Mine actually could be a little shaggier. I'm going to use a dubbing teaser to kind of fluff some of that out after I whip finish it. We tied that on a 2x long curved shank hook. Standard dry fly hook would work alright too. This one's a size 14. That's it. You take this dubbing teaser, which has little barbs on the end of this, and just fuzz that up a little bit. Bunny caddis, and it's got a turkey biot abdomen and body there. You got a CDC wing and snowshoe hare's ear dubbing for the thorax. And you can alter the color and size of this. This one's a size 14, mostly olive, but you could do tans or all black, cream colored, gray. They come in a wide variety of colors, browns, and they will